We now know what John Cena thinks about everyone, specifically the fans, as he did make his appearance on this week's edition of WWE Raw in Brussels for the first time since Elimination Chamber. We wanted to know, what did John Cena have to say? What was he really thinking when he decided to make the shocking heel turn on Cody Rhodes to align himself with the final boss, The Rock? Well, we've been waiting and waiting and waiting, and now we finally know kind of what this sort of theme is going to be for John Cena as he now goes into getting ready for this potential record-setting 17th World Championship when he faces Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas next month. And again, it was all about the weight. Cody had said all he wanted to say. Every week it seemed like we've been seeing Cody the past couple weeks. He's waiting for John Cena, bringing up his side of things. But now was finally the time to hear what Cena had to say. I've seen mixed reaction to what people thought about this. There were some people who said it was absolutely masterful in the way that John Cena kind of turned this against the fans and sort of really leaned into those heel things that tend to work when you're trying to pull off something like this the way that Cena is. Meanwhile, I've seen some other people say, well, he didn't mention certain things to kind of turn on the fans would have made sense, I don't know, 10 years ago or more, but maybe it left you wanting something more. Well, I think no matter where you stand on this, it is something where I think he pulled off something pretty incredible here because there's a couple reasons when you think about this. Going into it, again, you knew what the reaction was going to be. You knew he was going to get booed. Cena sucks. Fuck you, Cena. They were everywhere. Everybody had something to say in the crowd about John Cena. And I think that reaction, we always say in WWE, forget everything else. They want the reaction. Wasn't that really the theme with John Cena, right? For the longest time in his career, people kept wondering, okay, why are they not doing the heel turn now? Why are they not doing this? Why are they not doing that? And certainly there were opportunities to sit there and say, well, now was the time to do it, but they decided not to. We mentioned all the business reasons why it wouldn't have made a lot of sense then versus now. You're not really taking those same kind of risks. We talked about that in the previous video we did on Cena's turn. But it's all about the reaction. And any reaction is a good reaction, especially when you have something like this, right? There were still people chanting, let's go Cena. Just as we talked about, we knew there were going to be some people who were going to be cheering on John Cena when it comes to trying to achieve this record-setting championship win, right? And that, I think, was, even if you felt sort of underwhelmed by, he didn't mention The Rock, he didn't bring up some of these other things, something that I think was very well done here, and this may be kind of the part that we're really going to remember, is that, remember the setup going into this. There were going to be a lot of people who were wanting John Cena to win this championship at WrestleMania 41, right? Before anything happened in the Elimination Chamber. It was all about, okay, let's see Cena break the record. We're all going to be cheering him on. That was the story going into the Royal Rumble. And after that, we're thinking, all right, that's the setup here. We're cheering on John Cena. We want to see him break the record. But what did they do here? They never brought up this championship as a central theme in anything that John Cena said, right? This was about John Cena, the person, the realism, removing the whole championship aspect from it. So now you've got the entire crowd. Not everyone. Again, it's not going to be everyone. He's the cool heel now, right? We're trying to make John Cena, the cool heel the same way that Hulk Hogan tried to be the cool heel in the NWO. Different scenarios. But what you're trying to do is sort of put this in a situation where, hey, now I got to rethink. Do I really want to see John Cena break this record? And what did they do? By turning the crowd against Cena, having the sort of chance that you had on this particular week's Raw, and not even mentioning the championship as a central focus here in this promo. He might have said it somewhere, I don't remember, but it was not the focus, right? At all. It was not about the championship. It was all about getting the crowd to buy into the fact that we need to hate John Cena. We need to boo John Cena because why? He hates us. He said as much, right? And so what that does is now, rather than having, what we thought was initially going to be the setup, if they were both the cheered baby faces, right? Cody Rhodes and John Cena, the golden boys of WWE, the chosen ones, the split crowd, all these other things people were worried about when we were kind of in WrestleMania, season, when we started the Royal Rumble and all that. Well, they're not going to worry about that now. You're still, again, going to have people who are going to cheer on Cena because he's the cool heel. And that's how they're going to play it up probably if you get The Rock involved and all that other stuff. But for now, what you've done is I think you've effectively made people rethink that. Do I really want to see John Cena break the record? This John Cena? this little, as Cody called him, a whiny bitch? Do I want to see this guy break the record? Is that really what I want to do? These are the psychological things that Triple H, I think, is so good at. And we've seen it play up before in other different, storylines and all that kind of stuff throughout his tenure. But this is the thing where you think ahead and you're like, all right, we need to find a way to make Cody a stronger babyface, and we need to make this play out to where Cena is hated more and more and more. So what do? By having Cena go this route, right, of sort of making it all about the fans, not even talking about the championship. No, this is personal to John Cena because as he mentioned, right, he's not the problem. The fans are the problem. They've always been the problem. All they do is take from him. He gives everything. He's gone out for over 20 years now, right, giving everything to WWE fans. He tried to put the company on his back during a period where they needed someone to do it. And no one could ever see that as enough, right? It's never been enough. That's the way John Cena sees it. And I think when you see some of that realism come out, of course there are great points in there. He's exactly right. Because there are a lot of things you can say, well, he's not lying there. There's some truth to that. And I think that sort of continuing to add in that frustration and desperation, because I think you could kind of sense that with some of the things. You're like, wait a minute, this is John Cena, right? Come on. Like, John Cena's not this kind of guy who's going to sit here and point the finger at the fans and all this other stuff. But, as he brings up some of the things, you're thinking, well, some of that's coming out because he's desperate. And I think that's the other sort of underlying thing here is that why did we get this version of John Cena? It's still the desperation thing. He knows that unless he breaks that record, all of this will be for naught, right? This farewell tour, everything. Hey, it's great. John Cena's going to wrestle another year. Is anyone going to care if it's not tying in the fact that it is going for that record? This is his entire year. He can say it's about, okay, I'm just going to go from town to town, wrestle these matches, do this and that. It's all within the setting of this is your last chance to win that championship. And I think the desperation is now feeding into the frustration that John Cena has with the fans. And when you tie everything together, to me, this is what it comes down to, right? It's basically setting this up to where you want this to be as clear as day when it comes to look at the way that Cody got cheered on this show on Raw. It's not the first time, but you have so many people now behind Cody. Remember, it wasn't long ago people were saying, we got to turn Cody heel. We got to get Cody on the other side of this thing. He's the one. Maybe the fan support's dwindling and all this other stuff. His title reign, all this. No. In a span of however many weeks it's been now, you've not had to completely flip the script, but you have flipped it to where there is no doubt who is the person that has all the positive momentum in terms of the fans right now. It's Cody Rhodes. John Cena has some momentum for a different reason because of what he did and why it was so shocking. And we know that. He's going to keep that going into WrestleMania and probably beyond, especially when we talk about other matches he's going to have probably this year. CM Punk, Randy Orton, people like that. You've still got a lot of stuff you can do with John Cena. But we know the end goal is going to be Cena coming back around and realizing all of this frustration and just reeking of desperation here because he's got to win the 17th championship. This was not the way to go about it. And we know that's probably how this whole character arc for John Cena is going to finish by the time we get to December or whenever that final date is for Cena in WWE. That's got to be the story, right? He comes from this, now again, this frustration, blaming the fans for everything. He's been the guy, hustle, loyalty, respect, but the fans have never bought into those things. They wear the t-shirts is what he said, just to make it feel like that they're buying into, those particular characteristics. But all those little things that he mentioned, I think that is the long-time frustration coming out in someone who for years and years and years just got beat down by this whole stuff, right? And so I can understand some people saying, hey, this may have been something Cena should have done 10 years ago. But I think that's kind of the point, isn't it? Is that all these years, even when he's not been in WWE as a regular full-time guy, all these years, these are the things that are still in his mind. The memories, everything out there. Man, look at everything I put into it. And look at what I got coming out of it. I'm still known as John Cena, the guy that was, again, trying to carry the company, who was the babyface who was getting booed all the time. That's my legacy, right? And so, for Cena to kind of turn it back there, and I think that one line he said here, right? No one asked how I felt in this whole thing. And I thought that was brilliant, too, to basically say, hey, all you guys have been asking about, oh, what's going to happen now with John Cena heel turn? What am I going to get out of this? How many great matches? That's me, right? That's me. It's a lot of other people. We've been asking that. We've not asked, okay, what does this mean for John Cena? How does John Cena really feel? So I like that aspect. That's that old school sort of nature when it comes to the heel type stuff. It's me, right? It's about John Cena now because this is the last time is now, right? Like we've said this. It's about John Cena. And so it should be, in his mind, be about him. This is his farewell tour. It's about retirement. All the focus should be on, hey, all the good that I've done. But yet still, that's not been the case. He said, I tried to do something good for the fans. Well, still, they didn't repay him the way he wanted to. And so that ego takes a little bit of a hit from John Cena. And now I think it's going to be interesting. You know, the Rock stuff, as I'm pulling this up here, trying to remember everything that I wrote down from the notes from this however long segment it was, because I'm thinking there's a lot of stuff in here we can dissect. They'll get to the stuff with the Rock, I think, again, and that'll come with sort of how the title is tied in and everything else. But I think it is kind of that one layer at a time situation here. This is such a sort of, you know, again, unique scenario to where I don't think you want to just run through everything in one particular promo segment. You still got some ways to go to WrestleMania. I mean, we got a month to go, right? So we can sort of, you know, be a little patient here. And we know WWE is patient these days. They're not going to run through anything quick. It's a slow burn, but they didn't have to get to everything here. But I think to start with the fans, make it the focus of John Cena basically blaming everyone else and starting to see, you know, that this is all kind of bubbled up over the years, and now he's letting it all out. That's step one. Then we get into, well, how does that tie into what he's trying to achieve, which is winning that championship from Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 41. Then it starts to get a little more personal, right? It starts to get a little bit deeper into the psyche of John Cena and what's really driving everything that he's saying. We know what it is. We mentioned it earlier. Like the different little elements, we know what's driving it right now, but there's more in there. And that's where you got to bring all that out when it comes to why did he join The Rock? Why did he sell his soul? Why does he feel so different now in terms of like his position as he looks over at Cody Rhodes? And again, those were the two chosen ones. How do we now look at this from John Cena's perspective? All those things, I think. It's because, again, I think it was a great move to kind of have the crowd turn against him here, find a way to let that happen, and then can the fans sort of, you know, believe what he's saying? Can we really believe what John Cena is saying? Can we believe the words coming out of his mouth? That's going to be the challenge, I think, as we go into WrestleMania 41, because I saw some other people say, hey, I saw John Cena out there cutting a babyface promo as a heel. These are things where you have to make the fans believe what you're saying, and look, we talked about it over the years. That's how you become sort of these, you know, an effective top-level heel. But I think John Cena is kind of in a situation here where there's still so much more they have to work with. We weren't going to get it all on night one of having, you know, this final, you know, sort of encounter now between these two to kind of set everything up for the direction moving forward. But I think there's so much more to this that I think we're going to get it as we go through these weeks here leading up to WrestleMania 41. So you guys let me know what you think about the promo. Again, I've seen some mixed reaction on everything that happened, but I like the way that you immediately kind of have the fans turn on him because you want as many people rooting against John Cena to capture that 17th championship as you can get, because if he does it, then what, right? That's another thing Cena can kind of say, well, I told you guys. And so you all were against me again, and look what I did. I still did it anyways, right? So these are the things you can play around with should John Cena beat Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 41. But what else do you want to see from Cena here moving forward? What did you think of the first promo with John Cena as the newfound heel here at the top, leading into that WrestleMania 41 match against Cody Rhodes? Let me know what you think heading into, you know, again, we're going to have more promo exchanges between these two, and what else do you want to see from Cena on the road to WrestleMania 41? You guys, appreciate your feedback as always. I know we kind of took a week off there, had some busy stuff with work over the past week, but hey, it's WrestleMania season. Want to know what you think about this. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button as well, and let me know your thoughts on John Cena's first promo, and where do you think things go from here? Have your predictions changed? What's going to happen on the road to WrestleMania 41, and particularly at WrestleMania 41, John Cena versus Cody Rhodes for the WWE Undisputed title?